Hi everyone, now I'm going to show you, which is going to some people look a bit unusual. Basically what I'm going to be tying here is a snail pattern, though as you can see it looks like a muddler. But basically the colour I'm using here is called Rutland Snail. This is the Daphnia, I'll show you here. It's a Daphnia Fritz. It's called Rutland Snail. Now these flies can be different sizes. This is a large one. Now when fish are feeding on snails, they really they go crazy for them. When they're working along the edge of say a reed bed, the snails will be quite close. They get blown out from the reeds and the fish just gulp them up. And you can get them all different sizes. Now this specific colour is, as I say, is called Rutland Snail. Now when I was a fishery manager, fish were regularly feeding on the snails, and I used to always catch in brown muddlers, and so I'm combining both the Rutland, obviously Fritz, Daphnia Fritz, with the brown deer hair. Now it's a simple fly to tie. Now the hook choice I like when I'm tying muddlers or flies like this on a wide gape hook. And this is perfect for it. This is an ideal hook for it. This is a short shank special from Full & Mill, as you can see, size 8. Now it's basically equivalent. The length of the hook is equivalent to a standard size 10. It's a gape. It's equivalent to a size 8. So it helps with the heavy Fritz. So now it's a simple fly tie. Now this material floats really well. You've obviously once you add your floatant to it, it floats great. So what we're going to do, you can make it sink as well, it's up to yourself. Put a layer of thread down until we're basically between the point and the barb, keeping the gape of the hook well open so that when you run catch and release and debarb, you've got plenty of hook there to get a hold of. Now, as I say, it's a simple pattern to tie. I've got some of the Rutland Snail Daphnia Fritz, so I usually bare the core. As I say, you can tie these all sizes. If you bare the core and tie it in, as you can see, it's very neat. The head, you can go half and half, or you can have a short brown head or a black head even works. But the brown suits the shell of will represent the shell of the snail, and this will represent the flesh. Now these snails, when they're breeding as well, they tend to, when they're mating, they get blown out quite regular. And they sit kind of upside down really, but as the fish just love them, so they do. Now what I'm doing here is I'm stroking the fibre back. Now this can be as dense or as light as you like. I'm going to take it up maybe like 3 turns anyway in this, and then before I tie it in, just making sure, stroke this back, you can make a space for your thread to come through onto the core. It makes it far neater if you can do that. And make sure it's secure. Trim away. As I say, it's quite a dense fibre. Now this is very like egg yarn, because it's that type of fibre that's in it. Now what I'm going to do is wax my thread. I'm just going to build up a nice, reasonable head with the thread, and being waxed and on a muddler head, it gives you a bit more grip. You don't have to be too fussy with it, because once you put the muddler head on, you can tidy things up. Again, the same as the head, it can be a different shape. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to turn the hook upside down, as you can see, the fibres to come either side of the shank. Just watch your thread. And then just roll it with your fingers towards the back. Now you can reduce this depending on the size. If you're seeing snails quite small, you can reduce this by just trimming it. But keep it a good size first. So get a good brush. This will open out the fibre and make it far easier to get a shape out of it as well. You're going to apply your floatant, it'll sit really well. As I say, you could put a shape into it. I'll show you what I mean. Just bring it up, and you can just slightly trim it if you want to get some sort of shape, taper if you want it to. The light goes through it really well, so now if you want it to stay up, you could put a wee bit of varnish or resin on there, but it's fine even the way it is. It's okay the way it is. Now wash your thread. Now the deer hair I'm going to be using is this one. This is roe deer, which I've dyed. I said brown, but this is ginger. I've dyed it ginger. This is from Vineyards, Vineyard dye. So this is a nice, well marked, dark roe deer, which is basically this is the darker fibre which is on the back of the deer hair. Now I'm going to use a good pinch of it. This is going to represent, like, I'm going to put a collar on it like a standard muddler, and then use obviously the hollow ends as the head. So make sure you remove anything, any fur, any broken ends. Now I'm going to stack it. You could probably wind it straight on, but I'll stack it. Tips first into the stacker. Tap on your desk. Yeah, just remove it from the stacker. As I say, now you make sure your thread's right beside the Fritz. Just hold it, come in. I want it reasonably long. Come round with a couple of turns, 1, 2, and then tighten up slowly, and then allow the deer hair to spin, and then just work your way through towards the eye. Tight turns, straight turns. At this point I usually check to see where I am. Just drawing back the cut ends. There we are. And then we just basically make sure we get a few turns in front. There's a couple of wee hairs here. I'm just going to use my nail here just to press it back. This will tighten it up. There's lots of tools you can get nowadays for tightening deer hair up. I'm just going to use my nail, as I say. Sure you get a few turns in there. Keep the thread tight, and then go straight in wet finish. Make sure you tighten up, trim away, and then what I like to do is just bring out the cut ends. Hopefully they're all the way around. See where we are. Now the hair could be short. I mean, I've been messing about. I've made it quite short on this one. I've made it smaller. Well, the kind of hair. This is the type of the head I want on this one. You basically can make it far longer on the deer hair on the top. There's lots of ways to, and you can mess about with it. Just have different sizes and different shapes, using the same material. As I say, once you bring out the cut ends all the way around, just rotate the vise if you can. And then, as I say, if you're messing about with different sizes, then you can decide what type of head you would prefer. I want to see a lot of the brown, so I don't want to take too much away. Just work your way around. You see, the brown deer hair gives an impression of the shell, which is obviously darker. The flesh is this nice flesh colour, like in the Fritz. Just bring any of the cut ends out you missed. There's a couple there. Spend a bit of time trimming away to suit yourself. Now you could trim flat underneath, but as I say, keep the deer hair. Have these different shapes when you go out. You'll find one that works for you on the day, and the size. As I said, they tie them in different sizes. The snails are different sizes. See what it looks like. That's fine. And then make sure you varnish. Don't be shy. I usually really put it into the eye there. Just even if the eye's filled up, I want it to soak slightly into the front part, the fibres at the front. And then the eyes is not too bad, it's actually quite clear, so just clean it out anyway with the dubbing needle or piece of wire or feather or something. And there we are, and as I say, all you have to do is gink these up. I say it gives the impression of the snail. When you know when they're feeding on the snails, you can see them. And when we used to get them at the fishery, there was a couple of sizes I worked with, but the main size would be a 10. The sizes, especially when they're breeding, because they're at the size, adult size, and so they're looking for the big, and they can be even bigger than this. So there we are. So there you go. Basically, that's the Rutland Snail Muddler. That's what I'll call it. Simple as that. It's just a muddler pattern. As I say, you can tie them in different sizes, and you'll not go far wrong. So hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.